In 2005, the Premier League authorized the sale of Manchester United to the Glazer family using a leverage buyout, effectively taking the club that had zero debt and made a profit every year into a club with debt and an increasing debt year by year. Though the first few years of the Glazers' tenure was kind of overshadowed by the success of what we can consider one of the greatest managers of all time in Alex Ferguson. We were winning and things were going relatively okay. But the moment Sir Alex stepped down, things would begin to dissolve and dissolve quickly. And this video is 5 reasons why the Glazers have destroyed Manchester United. So sit tight and enjoy this one, guys. Here's 5 reasons why the Glazers have effectively destroyed Manchester United. Number 5. Number 5 is a lack of investment. Now, this is not really pertaining to what we spend on the squad. I think people will always throw, oh, you spent over $1 billion on the current squad. Yes, we understand that. But how many of those players have remained at the club? Let me know. And how have we done in player sales since 2013? It has been absolutely atrocious. We are one of the worst clubs in the world when it comes to making a profit on players, getting players out of the club, selling them effectively to other clubs. We are one of the worst. But this is not what we're talking about when we speak of lack of investment. In 2005, Carrington was seen as one of the top training facilities in the world, a world-class training facility. We had the best in everything, whether it was the food, the equipment, the grounds, the stadium even. One of the best stadiums in all of the world when it came to football. Now, flash forward to the present day. Nothing has really changed other than a few coats of paint, an increase to seating capacity, and that's about it. The training facility remains the same. We all remember Ronaldo's interview from last winter saying that since he left the club in 2009, nothing has been improved, upgraded when it comes to the training facility. It even got to the point where the women's coach effectively stepped down from her position because she was sick of the lack of investment in the women's team. The women's team had to walk over 10 minutes just to get to the bathroom from their training facility. And they didn't even really get to train at Carrington. They were training somewhere else off-site with, I think, portable restrooms that were 10 minutes away from the training field. That is insane. You're effectively wasting over 20 minutes of time going to and from the restroom. There were complaints made about night training where they just randomly bought floodlights or whatever. It was insane. But when it comes down to the training facility, the food, the cafeteria, even the staff inside, there has been no changes since around 2005, 2006. And go ahead and point me to any club in a top division that hasn't updated their facilities since 2005. I don't think there'll be a single one. And not to mention that when fans and people are visiting Old Trafford and it's a rainy day, you could expect to get rained on. Yeah, it is covered, but there are leaks and cracks all over Old Trafford. It is absolutely appalling that the club, the size of Manchester United, with the funds and fan base we have let the facilities sink so far. And if you don't think that translates to what happens on the pitch, you're insane. It's the mentality of the club. If they don't care about what our facilities are like or how people are training, what food we're eating, that's going to trickle down and affect everyone else on and off the pitch. So a major lack of investment in the club from the Glazers is number 5. Number 4. This is another big one. Number 4 is hiring the wrong people in charge. Now, I've said earlier that the first few years of the Glazers' reign was actually decent, but that was masked because of the brilliance of Sir Alex Ferguson. He basically ran the club. He was bringing players in, pushing players out. He basically told them what he wanted and they listened. But as soon as he retired, this is where things really, really began to sink. They went and hired a fucking banker, the one who facilitated the sale between the Glazer family. Um, oh fuck, I forget who the previous owner was, but he's the one who oversaw the sale of Manchester United to the Glazer family, and that guy was Ed Woodward. He was put in charge of all of our transfers, investments, our sales, and he basically took our club from being a successful club, buying smart players, not overspending, into a club where we just went out and bought glamour players, thinking of players like Angel Di Maria, Romelu Lukaku, Paul Pogba, overspending and buying the completely wrong players for this club. And on top of that, he was also making absolutely absurd managerial hires. First, as soon as Sir Alex he went and got David Moyes. Well, actually, Sir Alex went and got David Moyes. Tell me which club lets their manager pick who the next manager is. Like, he actually went to his house and said, "Yo, dog, you're the next manager of United, whether you like it or not." That season was an utter disaster. He was fired about 10 months into the job, and Louis van Gaal was taken over. And that actually appeared to be a good move at the time, but that became also a terrible hire. Very bad style of play, very boring, buying horrible players like Morgan Schneiderlin, Memphis Depay that just did not fit in with our team, did not have the right mentality. And then after that, we move on to a guy like Jose Mourinho, which admittedly did start off very well, but you did. Even Ray Charles could see where Manchester United were heading at that time. Mourinho doesn't last a long time. And I remember when he got hired, I was very against the Mourinho hiring at the time. I said that this was going to be one of the worst appointments that we've ever had. And yes, maybe I was wrong. The first season we won some trophies, but after that, it was a mess. We nosedived quickly. The style of play became absolutely horrid. And then from there on, we fired him around the Christmas time of 2018. 2018? Yeah, 2018. And brought in a manager of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who had a great temporary reign as manager, went unbeaten in like 14 games or something. And then they, off of that, I think it was off of the win in Paris that we had, which was an amazing night, by the way. They hired Ollie as our full-time manager. And the first couple years went really well. I actually enjoyed what we were doing. We had a lot of games where we scored more than 5 goals, and that did not happen a lot in the previous reigns. But in that third season, we made some investments, and you could tell that he was just not up to the job. So there's been a countless cycle of bad hires in Manchester United, from managerial to the higher ups. We're not even going to really even mention like John Murtaugh, Darren Fletcher and stuff, and all those guys higher up. They've only kind of really taken the reins of the last year, but what we've seen so far, that it honestly hasn't really been that much better when it comes to bringing players in and selling them. So yeah, just loads of bad hires, guys. It was like giving their friends jobs, and that just never ends well. So yeah, just hiring the wrong people over and over and over again is number 4. Number 3 is a lack of ambition to win. Now, I see so many people go on about how the Glazers are good businessmen, and I struggle to see where these people are coming from. If you could tell me how they are good businessmen, I'd love to hear it, because good businessmen like to win. Winning means better business. It will mean more money coming in, more sponsors, more everything, more better players want to join the club. We can actually sell players because people will think because they play for our club like they did in the 2000s and the 90s, that just because they play for Manchester United, even if they've only had 1 or 2 games, they must be good. This is what's happening at Manchester City right now, how they can sell youth players for so much money because they play for Man City. They've got to be good, right? But our lack of ambition to win has been highlighted since 2013. It seems that the Glazers are really content with just being in the Champions League, not winning the Premier League, not winning the Champions League, but just doing enough to get into the Champions League. And once we drop out of that, once we get into like the Europa League and stuff, you could see that in that summer, they'll invest heavily to get back into the Champions League and then screw the manager over on the next transfer window to take that next step by not investing. A good example was Jose Mourinho. We finished second to Man City. And that summer, we literally went out and brought Lee Grant and Fred. What the hell is he supposed to do with that? Admittedly, under Erik ten Hag, investment has been a bit better. It was a bit rough last year. It took a long time to get our big signings over the line. And everyone wants to go about how this summer has been a good transfer window. I am going to squash that right now. It's been a 4 out of 10 window. We brought 3 players in, one that's injured, one that we have no idea where his best position is at the moment, and a really good goalkeeper. But look at the sales. Our sales have just been absolutely terrible. And they've been that way since 2013 since Alex Ferguson left. And that just highlights the lack of ambition to win. We can't sell players to bring better players in. And we're just content hovering around that 3rd, 4th, 5th place position. And that really does trickle into the players. Like, why would the players care about doing better if the owners could care less about winning the league? So I think that will come down, and you'll probably notice that like in our mentality is that our mentality is really weak at the moment. And I think it's a big thing on why I think our mentality is weak at the moment because there's no ambition from the higher ups. If they don't care, why should the players care? Simple as that. They're getting paid $250K a week. Why should they care about doing anything better than 3rd or 4th place? Because clearly the owners have no ambition to do any better than that, as long as that Champions League money keeps rolling in and rolling in. So yeah, number 3 is a lack of ambition to win. It's pretty sad, to be honest. Number 4, terrible contracts. And this kind of comes down to Ed Woodward, but who hired Ed Woodward? The Glazers. So Ed Woodward really loved dishing out contracts to players that did not deserve it. He saw them as assets. As long as they had a contract, the value of Manchester United would go up. Guys like Phil Jones getting a 3-year contract when he should have been released from the club, giving Alexis Sanchez nearly $500K a week. I would say even giving Marcus Rashford what he's getting right now is a bit crazy. Giving Antony $250K a week after making, I think he was on like $50K at Ajax. How could you bump up someone's salary that much? There's a load more instances. There's the Pogba salaries. This whole Maguire situation right now is all due to his salary and the increased salary he's gotten since getting into the Champions League. So we had a really, really big issue with dishing out insane contracts to players who are not worthy. And this all ties into why we can't sell players. Because that means whoever's buying these players needs to pay the wages that they're on. And ain't no one going to pay Harry Maguire $200K. No one's going to pay Alexis Sanchez goddamn £500,000 a week to score 4 fucking goals a season. So terrible contracts. And we're starting to try to work our way out of this. And you can see Erik ten Hag trying to get these these players that were on big contracts out of the club, look at David De Gea, $375K a week, did not really command that out of the club this summer. We're trying to rectify it, but this is damage done over a period of time by the Glazers and by Ed Woodward. It's going to take some time to sort out this contract problem because I think players still see Manchester United as a money pit to go get money and not really care about where they finish because the owners could care less. Terrible contracts is number 4. Or number 2. My bad. I'm like all over the numbers. Number 2. Number 1. And this one is a big one. And that's greed. They've never made a single investment they haven't made $1 in investment on Manchester United, but have no problem ripping Manchester United for dividends, taking dividends and more dividends from the club as we dive into a deeper and deeper debt. I don't know how you can take hundreds of millions out of a club while the club is in hundreds of millions of debt. It makes no sense to me. Though people will say club debt is a good thing. If someone can explain that to me, let me know, because I don't see how debt on anything is good. But their greed has really ravaged United. They're content with just getting that Champions League money. Once that money comes in, spend it on a couple players and take the rest into their pockets. Not a fucking pound, not a dollar, not a euro, not a peso has been spent on Manchester United from the Glazers, from their own pocket. And it's not just Manchester United that have this issue. You can see it as well in their NFL franchise in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They won a Super Bowl in like 2000 or 2001 against the Raiders and didn't get back to a Super Bowl, hardly even made the playoffs until a couple years ago when they got Tom Brady, kind of scratched out a few performances in the postseason and eked out a Super Bowl win. And what have they done since then? Have they improved? No, that team has nosedived. They are content on being average. They'll go out, purchase a couple big players in hopes to do well, and if all goes well, cool, they get a pocket a few million, but if not, it is what it is. Their lack of ambition not only shows in Manchester United, but also shows in their NFL football club as well, or team, I should say. Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been ass for over 20 years with one Super Bowl win and hardly any playoff appearances. And now the same is happening with Manchester United over the last decade. And you think that maybe it's a Man U problem? It's not. It's a Glazer fucking problem. And it shows all over everything they own. They just want to take, and they don't give back anything. It's insane how the Premier League has let this happen, which is funny because doing leverage buyouts like they did on Manchester United is now illegal. And the funny thing is that the Glazers had a hand in approving that, which is mind-boggling to me. So, yeah, guys, I don't really see anything good happening right now with Manchester United until these people are gone. Now, there's been reports saying that it looks like they're prepared to stay. I also did a report last week saying that there could be a big $7 billion bid coming in for them, but no one knows what's happening. All we know and all we want is them the fuck out of this club and get stepping. Go use all those dividends. Go buy yourself a hair transplant. Get the hell out of here. Go enjoy yourselves in Miami or Tampa Bay, wherever the hell you guys live, and get the hell out of the club because it's just not working out, guys. It's not. You don't care. We don't want you here, and it's time to move on. Get us an owner that cares for the club, that knows how to win, and that enjoys winning, and one that actually sees a positive thing from winning, how we can generate more money from winning, because that's not going through the Glazers' head at the moment. They don't realize the more we win, the more money they can actually rip from the club. Makes sense, right? Anyway, guys, that was 5 reasons, 5 ways the Glazers have destroyed Manchester United over the last 18 years. I may have got some of those numbers fucked up, but whatever, guys. Just listen to the video, enjoy it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you agree with this, comment below Glazers out. I want to see my entire comment section with a Glazers out hashtag. You can do it. Let's go. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's get to 1,000. And I'll see you all on the next one. Later.